Hello everyone, so this one will be about the November 23rd schedule update. We'll be getting middle little sister Dawn as well as little brother Meursault, as well as the next part of the Battle Pass and the main story Canto 5 Part 2. Cannot wait to see what Ishmael is going to be up to while we are on the seas. So besides that, we are also getting a EXP Lux number 5, which will be added when you clear Canto 5 Part 2. So you're gonna have to play through the entire story once it drops in order to get this new EXP Lux. They're also going to move Honglu into a He Ego instead of a Tef Ego. I haven't actually looked at this one yet, so I will be taking a look at that after I talk about the other units, which is the little brother units. And then pretty much the rest here is just stuff. It's just a bunch of stuff. They apparently changed the BGM for EXP Lux number 4, and that was the only one that kind of took my attention. The rest of them is just stuff, just a bunch of stuff getting fixed. The main one here is that they're actually going to give us compensation for Yi Sang, and is because his charge barrier gave him 5 when actually it was supposed to be 3, and then now they're going to change it back to 3. So yeah, this is the only thing they're going to change. And pretty much we're getting 600 lunacy this patch note. So let's get this shit out of the way. I'm just only looking forward to the story and the new units. So let's just look at Little Brother Meursault. So very interestingly, the two units are very envy focused and they're all about absolute resonance. It's very, very specific. So if you look here, if you use your first skill, you gain envy damage up next turn if you lose. So it's all about envy, and it's all about this mechanic called Vengeance Mark, which is another thing that I have to talk about. So for this one, Meursault, right? Let's open up here. Okay. So 2 coiner, 3 coiner. So not really super heavy on the DPS side, because coins usually you need to have a lot of them to become a very powerful DPS. Having 2, 3 is not really a match with Rhino or W Meursault, so most likely this character may not be even worth a slot. But it is very interesting to see the middle gang, because the middle gang is just going to be all envy related. So you gain envy damage up, apply envy power up to allies adjacent to this unit, apply envy damage as well when selecting envy affinity skills from affected slots. So I believe, right, from this wording here, it's a bit confusing when you first read it, but it's actually if you apply the power up to your allies adjacent to you, and those allies also selected envy skills, then you also apply envy damage up to them as well. So I think that is how this line here is supposed to be read. It's basically envy power up to allies adjacent, and if those allies use an envy skill, then you also give them envy damage up. Then for skill 3, you have at X plus envy resonance, you gain coin, and if you get a certain amount of NVA resonance, you also gain coin power. So most likely you get more if you can get NVA resonance. And thankfully, Envy is also a really powerful like type in our game. We got Rabbit, we got Rip Space, we got Bitter, we got pretty much any of like Reindeer and Rhino. They also have pretty decent NV skills. Dichi Rodion has NV skills. Pretty much like there's a lot of envy moves in the game, so getting a team built around envy is not particularly hard, especially when you consider shit like Hexnail. Hexnail is also full envy, and if you run a full envy team, then you're also going to generate a lot for Hexnail, and Hexnail gives you, I think, envy fragility, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I looked at it, but this looks like the beginning of a potential envy only team. And if you bring it specifically for envy only bosses, or maybe for the envy only abnormality fights, then this will be very, very powerful indeed. So besides all of that, right, he's quite generic in that the main thing about his skill 2, the skill 1 is basically just 2 hits inflicting bleed, so there are a little bit of bleed as well, but the main thing here is definitely this envy boost here. So Meursault is a supporter, he's going to envy buff allies next to him, and then for his skill 3 here, he gains more coin power. And interestingly enough, if you have Vengeance Mark, so Vengeance Mark mechanic, let's explain it. Vengeance Mark is basically whoever did the most damage, skill damage to an ally, will be Vengeance marked. So we will have Vengeance on the guy who beat us up. So people like Dichi, people like Rhino, people like Zwei, Gregor, who will draw a lot of aggro, will be able to help these guys get that mark safely. And that is still very good. What happens is that if this unit has Vengeance mark when you attack, you gain final power for Meursault. For Dawn, I believe it is actually coin power instead of final power, which is way stronger. And then for this character, you get this as well as inflict plus coin drop on this skill and inflict envy fragility on this skill here. I do not know the exact values here, but plus coin drop, like I've said many times before, is one of the most powerful debuffs in the game. Regret Faust can apply it, and what's his name? Heath is the only other one that can apply. Heath applies 2 instead of 1. Faust applies 1. I do not know how many this Meursault will apply, but the fact that all you need, right, in order to activate Vengeance Mark is existing, because at turn end you just apply it, and whoever did the most skill damage to an ally, you will apply it. It's pretty damn easy to get this uptime onto the target, because it's not like you need to apply like gaze or something, right? It's just if the enemy has hit you, you can just apply this Vengeance Mark and then you'll be able to get this. And if it's only on the boss, if there's only one enemy hitting you, then pretty much it's always going to be that boss always hitting you and always getting the Vengeance Mark. So it's just going to be really, really powerful against bosses in general. Against ads, well, better bring a better DPS then, because this guy is probably not going to be super important for ads. But for boss fights, and specifically bosses that are weak to envy, this character is going to be a very, very strong unit to slap on as well, unless of course you want to bring your Bro Meursault, who is probably a lot better, especially with Regret Ego buffing more coins and this guy only having 2, 2 and 3, while Rhino and W Mur have a lot more coins compared to this guy. Right, and then for the counter, it's also very interesting because Dawn also has a very interesting counter. For Meursault, his counter is if at X plus NVA resonance, including this skill, so it includes this one into the A resonance, you will be able to gain coin power on your counter, and your counter also inflicts bleed. So overall, we just have a bleeding envy boosting character who has a very easy debuff to apply to an enemy, and you'll be able to apply a bunch of debuffs as long as this debuff applies, and this debuff is very easy to apply. And then the last one for loyalty passive here is if there's another surviving ally from the middle other than this unit, so this line here literally makes him a part of the middle gang, then this unit and the surviving ally from the middle with the least SP both heal SP at every turn end. Not particularly important, to be honest, because if you're winning your clashes anyway, then you will not need to be healing any SP. You can also pop another ego in order to heal SP. This is just an okay passive. It's just really nice if you just want some free SP generation to your friends. So this is fine. This really only affects middle targets, right? So take note of that. Which means that most likely we'll be getting more middle units to go along with our middle gang here. For his support passive, one ally with the least SP heals SP at turn end if there is another ally from the same faction. So this one's quite interesting. It means that if you're using Rupture, using W, using... I'm not sure if the Rhino Reindeer are in the same faction, but in Ruina they were from the same faction. So most likely that should also work for Rhino, Rabbit and Reindeer, because those three are part of the R faction. So should be an SP heal as well, but it's quite interesting that they've done something like this. So actually not bad to just slap it on the bench if you just need some SP regeneration in the background. So overall, this character is just not a super good DPS, but it's definitely more support focused and more thematically meant to be thrown into the middle team. But if you're going for maximum DPS and speedrunning shit, then most likely you will not run him, because his coinage is not as high as Rhino, it's not as high as W, and also there are probably some better IDs to be slapping in if you want to go for super DPS, because Meursault is generally a very utility character, right? So based on all of this ID looks pretty fine, pretty much a flavorful middle character, and most likely not something you'll be pulling unless you want to go for some middle roleplay. Okay, so let's talk about W Dawn, and I think W Dawn is a very similar design to KK Rodion, but it's a lot better just cause the skill tree is very crazy looking. So KK Rodion, if you don't know, her defense skill, right, will also transform into her skill tree. But the thing about that is that her counter and the skill tree are pretty much just one coin moves, so it's not particularly interesting. But the difference is that while Dawn also has this mechanic, if at X plus NVA resonance, including this skill, use a Just Vengeance as a counter, you are turning a 2-coin counter into a 4-coin move with a bunch of combat start effects, as well as on hit inflict bleeds, and then if you kill the target, you also heal SP for the lowest ally. So you're getting a crap ton of shit for one counter move, and you also counter the weakness that a lot of units have, which is sometimes I just don't want to use my skill 1 cause it's kind of dog shit. So because my counter also does 2 coins, and this thing doesn't look very interesting sometimes, because on use heal SP on self, I mean, that I don't have anything here in particular that's lowering my SP, you see. So because of that, right, maybe I do not want to use this skill. It's a bit like when you're using discard, you discard your skill 1. So in this case, I can use my counter to discard my skill 1, and my counter transforms into my Adjust Vengeance, as long as I have Envy A Resonance, which is 3 Envy in a row, which is not particularly hard because Envy, like I say, is a super strong move type. A lot of good moves in this game are Envy, and this is no exception. So yeah, remember that this also includes this skill, which means that all you need, right, is 2 more Envy skills. So you can get your Dichi, your skill 2 from Dichi, you can get your Rhino, you can get whatever. And then you'll be able to convert your counter, which probably discarded your skill 1 or your skill 2, to become a skill 3. So because of that, right, this seems very, very powerful already. Of course, you will be trading off W Dawn for this, so it's going to be a bit tricky. We will have to see the coin power and her practical damage output, because most of the time, right, W Dawn is used specifically for like something like teleport into rip space, but we will have to see whether Dawn can very easily get to that skill tree spam as fast as possible compared to W Dawn, and see if the damage output is similar or not even close. Because it is 4 coin and I believe rip space is 5 coin, so it's gonna have to fight really hard in order to get up there. But the thing about this character is that she looks so cool, and she is like, the whole kit design is just so cool. So upon you activating the above effect, this skill's affinity is changed to Envy, which means, right, that this skill tree here, I believe Adjust Vengeance, right, will change to Envy. So when you use this, you change this to purple. Just take note of that, right? And then also on hit, you lower stagger threshold on self and lower stagger threshold on self. And this line here kind of reminds me of Dichi Rodion, in that you are supposed to be someone who likes to get hit, but you also hit back really hard, because she is going to be countering, right? So she's going to guaranteed take some damage. And because she also has the Vengeance Mark mechanic similar to Meursault, she will also be applying that Vengeance Mark to the one unit that dealt the most skill damage to an ally, and that could be herself as well, since she is countering. So because you are using your counter skill to activate your skill tree, having it lower stagger threshold on yourself is also really nice, because you do not want to be staggered while you are countering the enemy. You will need some sort of sustain in order to make sure you can keep spamming your Adjust Vengeance. And because of all of that, like, let's look at Adjust Vengeance first. Let's see if this skill actually looks very strong. So first off, we got 4 coin move, right? And then on combat start, this skill gains the offense level by highest A resonance divided by X. I do not know what the value is here, but interestingly enough, the middle gang is going to be scaling off of offense level. So it's not going to be like damage up or any Envy up. Shit like that. It's offense level up. If you want Envy up, you can actually get it from your Meursault if you want to bring him as a support. And then because Envy up will, this skill will change into Envy if you use a counter to trigger this, you will be able to get the Envy boost onto this skill here if you're using your counter. So you can actually bypass this skill being Pride just by using your counter to get to this move here. So Envy up is still very powerful on your skill tree. So you can get your skill 2 Envy up, and you can get your skill 3 Envy up. So if the highest A resonance is Envy A resonance, which if you're using her, you will likely be trying to go for this setup here, you will also boost your offense level gain by the above effect. And then you also boost offense level gain from the above effect further in focused encounters under a certain participant limit. So this is very interesting, because we don't have any character with this line ever. Like, this is the first character of its type that wants under a certain participant limit, and I do not know what that means. Does it mean that when I'm doing a boss fight, because focus encounters are basically just like boss fights, abno fights basically, that means if I bring like 6 out of 7, then I'll be able to get some buff, or maybe if I bring like 5 out of 7, I'll get more buffs, something like that. So interestingly enough, she does seem like someone that wants to function with less teammates in order to get more offense level. Do not know why this is like that. Maybe it's because you want to use like some sort of little sister Dawn solo or low team comp so that you can boost the offense level. Most likely not going to be something very significant, because if you have more characters, you get more ego access, you get more elements, you are able to just start using 7 actions off the bat. So it's really very powerful to bring 7. So the fact that this boosts your offense level only, you have to be a very significant boost in order to actually be something worth considering. But very cool design. So yeah, so the fact that this counter leads into this and turns it into envy, and also this move here gives you a bunch of offense level, especially if you get envy resonance, A resonance. This is already proving to be a very powerful thing to be working for this character and for your team comp building. Besides Vengeance Mark, take note that she also does it herself, right? So that means you do not need to bring your Meursault at all. That means that just throwing your middle Dawn in already will guarantee your Vengeance Mark. So you do not actually need to run Meursault at all. And then this one here, I talked about this. If this unit's main target has Vengeance Mark, you also gain coin power. Oh my god. So basically, if you applied Vengeance Mark to the target that hits you, and since you'll be countering, most likely someone's going to be hitting you. And if you counter, you get this as well. Then you apply Vengeance Mark next turn, and then the next turn, your 4 coin skill here gains coin power. Oh my god, the synergy. It's envy. It's the season of envy. Gain, and then besides that, right, we also got gain envy damage up next turn every time the enemy strike an ally, including this unit X times. So I do not know what the cap on this is. There has to be a cap. It really reminds me of Dichi Rodion in many ways, but this character does not generate aggro. What she does is that she uses a counter to select what skills hit her, so that she will be able to apply the Vengeance Mark. So let's say if you're doing a small boss fight where there's like 4 ads plus 1 boss, and then you can specifically counter the boss so that you will be able to get hit by the boss, and then you'll target the Vengeance Mark to them, and then you also gain envy damage based on how many times the boss hit you, or maybe hit your other allies because you lost a clash. So you're just getting a shit ton of stuff. It's very similar to Dichi Rodion, which is why I'm like, damn, this unit has to be like super good or something. Like 4 coin spamming, countering, envy damage up when you get hit. This shit is just, oh, this kit is amazing. If you look at the other skills, it's not super amazing. It's really just about this part here that I've talked about. The first one is just checking the book, which is 2 coins, and then you heal SP on yourself, on hit, inflict bleed, blah blah blah. It's just a very typical skill 1, something I don't want to be using, but I can use my counter to use this instead, to replace this, right? So it's still really good. And then proof of loyalty here is pretty much this skill gains offense level by highest A resonance divided by X. If the highest A resonance is envy, you also boost blah blah blah, then you also boost if below. So basically the exact same copy pasta here and here. So these 2 skills are pretty much the exact same, and then you inflict bleed plus damage down. So yeah, it's really whatever. But I think it's very cool that this unit, right, actually can replace every one of her skills and make herself into triple envy. So if you look properly, right, if I want to use my skill 1, I don't. I just use my counter here, and my counter will turn this into a purple skill and then be a 4 coin move. So that is already Pog. And then if I use this skill, instead of using this skill, I can actually just use my counter skill to turn the skill into purple as long as I get hit. So yeah, I can actually just go triple purple all the way. And in order to get A resonance for the envy, I just need 2 more characters to have the envy skills, and that is not hard to build around. So because of all of this, right, I think this character is it's like so cool, and definitely something I'm going to be farming my shards for. Like, this design is just impeccable. First off, she looks so good. I love this design. She's about to pound me again. I love a woman that will just kill me. And then my counter skills here, I'm getting bashed. It's like Dichi Rodion all over again. I'm going to pound you into the ground, and you're gonna hit me, and I'm gonna get more damage buff, and I'm gonna mark you for death, and I'm gonna get coin power because I just marked you for death. So this character is just Dichi Rodion but Dawn, and that is just a big W for me because I love Dichi Rodion and I cannot live without Dichi Rodion. Okay, so that is going to be it, I think. I don't really have anything else to say for these 2 units. Meursault, probably not something I will be going for. I'll probably just be super farming shots for this Dawn and definitely getting her because I think this design is just so cool, and I'm probably going to just bench W Dawn because I love this kind of designs where I can just keep spamming my skill trees. I get hit, I don't give a shit. I just press win rate and then turn this into the counter move, and then I just win. So it's just so easy, I think, for this character. It's just I love it. I love this design. There's no words. You can like combo this art with this kit. It's like massive W. This is going to be a rich banner for P Moon. Everyone's just going to be grinding shards for this. Everyone's going to be pulling for this, even though Walpurgis Knight exists. Like, this unit here is just well done, P Moon. Well done. You wanted my wallet, you have it. Right, so that will be it. So for the summary, pretty much we are getting the banners. Yisang is getting that charge barrier fix, so we're going to get 600 lunacy. And then besides all of that, we are also gaining our what's this called? Canto 5 Part 2 story, yep. As well as the second part of the Limbus Pass, and also a new EXP Excavation Dungeon, and Honglu also changing his ego rating into a he ego. Right, so that is really it. And then for Meursault, not something I'll be pulling for, but Dawn I will absolutely be farming shards for. Absolutely 1000% getting this character, because she looks so fun to play and she looks so strong and her design is top tier. Alright, so that will be it. Leave a comment if you have any other thoughts, or maybe I misread something and then I will need to be corrected. Feel free to go and do that. But this unit here, ooh, I'm gonna farm. It's over. Okay. Goodbye everyone. Thank you all for watching. Have fun.